Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Ji Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome everyone to this week's Salok Mahalla course. Really appreciate everyone coming out today. I know it's really wet and cold and windy outside, and sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to leave my house, especially when it's nice and warm. So really appreciate everyone coming out today to the course. Before we begin, I've been asked to talk about this women's self-defense class that's starting on the 15th of Feb. The only requirements is that you are over the age of 18 plus. It's from 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. every Saturday morning. What better way to start your weekend than throwing someone across the room? And it's only £5 a lesson. So do give it a go. Even if on the face of it something like this maybe isn't your cup of tea, I would still say just give it a go. At least go to the first lesson, because you never know, you might be surprised. Hopefully I've sold that one enough now. Right, okay. So over to the talk. If I can get my clicker working. No? Hold on, guys. Waheguru, sorry about that. I've been meaning to change the battery in my clicker for so long, and I knew it was going to mess up right on the time I needed it. Right, so I'm going to do my talk holding this scary thing. Okay, so today we're going to go through Saloks 12 to 16, and these Saloks are all about character. Maharaj talks about the characteristics of someone. So before we get into it, let's start off with a Mool Mantar, and let's do this Mool Mantar together, everyone. Ik oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirbhau Nirvair Akal Murਤ Ajuni Saipang Gur Prasad Jap Aad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Aad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So to start off this week, I thought we'd just go back to the sort of fundamentals of Sikhi, the fundamentals of everything. Because I feel like, you know, when we learn about Sikhi, there's so much to learn, and it's in so much depth that sometimes we actually forget the basics, pun intended. We actually forget the basics, so that's where we're going to start off today. And everything really starts from the one, right? This ik, this singularity. So Salok Mahalla starts with one, Mool Mantra starts with one, Sikhi starts with one, and the whole of creation starts with one, this ik. Now, what happened was this one expanded into the whole creation that we see now, right? It created this world that we see, this illusion, right? And what it also did, it expanded into each and every one of us, right? So we've all got this light inside us, call it a soul, call it the Atma, right? It's all the same thing, and everyone is fundamentally equal, because no matter what we look like on the outside, no matter how we are as a person, at our core, we're all actually the one. We're all the same. Now that light that's inside us, it's actually covered by something called ego, this sense of home, this sense of self. And what the ego does is it creates duality. It tells us that we are here and that one is out there somewhere. Right? It tricks us into forgetting that we are actually the one at our very core, right? It's like, imagine looking into a mirror, but the mirror's so dirty, we can't actually see who we are looking back at it, right? So the ego acts like the dirt on that mirror. Now this life that we're living, it's essentially a journey through this illusion, right? And depending on what we do, we may have many, many lives, but we are on a journey just back to the one. Every single one of us. We can't get away from this. This is the game that we're playing, right? So what happens is, the one themselves manifested as Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Right? So that's where Guru Nanak Dev Ji has come from. So here Maharaj says, Bana Mathura. So Mathura was a poet at the time of our fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And they say, Bana Mathura, Kachped nahi Guru Arjan Partakya har. That Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the light that's in Guru Arjan Dev Ji is the complete form of the one, i.e. Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So the same light that was in Guru Nanak Dev Ji is passed on through all of our Gurus, all the way up to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Right? So they are the pure form of the one. So if we look at Salok Mahalla, we'll hear Maharaj say, Kaho Nanak. Right? All throughout Gurbani they say, Kaho Nanak. Never once does Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji say, Kaho Tegh Bahadur. Why? Because it's the light of Guru Nanak Dev Ji that's in Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Okay, so our Guru, remember that dirty mirror analogy? They're trying to help us clean that mirror. They're trying to help us get rid of our ego. That's what they're here for. So God gives us the Guru, and our Guru gives us God, right? So that's how this whole game is working. That's the setup. Okay, but this one, fair enough, we're on a journey to get there, right? But what's it like? What's it like getting there? What's it like being one? It's a bit like, you know, if someone you know goes on holiday and they go to a country you've never been before, and you naturally ask, well, what's it like out there? Right? It's a bit like that. We want to know, and it's a genuine question, like, what is that end goal like? And Maharaj, they don't just tell us how to get out of this illusion, but they actually tell us what this end goal is like, what it's like to be the one. In other words, how does Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji see the world? And they tell us, they say, Kat kat mein harju base, santana kehyo pukar. That the saints, those people that have completed this journey back to the one, all they see is the one in each and every person. So that light in all of us, these people that complete that journey, all they see is the one. They don't see the name, they don't see the gender, nothing like that. Kat kat mein harju base, they only see the one. So this thing that Maharaj is teaching us, this is Gyan, right? So this is spiritual wisdom, right? We wouldn't know this without our Guru. Now when it comes to Gyan, this spiritual wisdom, there's two categories it falls into. The first category is when we're just taught it. So here, we can look at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's words and say, okay Maharaj, you're telling me that in each and every person is the one, right? And that we're all the same, I get it. But what's the second category of Gyan then? So the first one is our Guru telling us, and us listening to it. What might the second category be? Any guesses? Hanji? Yes, spot on. It's when it's your own personal experience. It's when you're one with that truth. So what we get nowadays is a lot of people learning about Sikhi. And learning about Sikhi is great. That's what we're here for, right? But living Sikhi, that's a whole nother topic in itself, right? I can see a lot of nodding heads. It's really hard. These are two completely different things. You can know a lot, but that doesn't mean that you do a lot. Fair? Right. Now to live with complete equality, to live with this sight of the one in each and every person, that equality is so rare to find. But it existed in someone called Bhai Kanhaiya-ji. Bhai Kanhaiya-ji, very famous Sakhi, this one. Now when Bhai Kanhaiya-ji was young, a lot of people don't know this, they were actually a Sikh of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji when they were young. Right? Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji actually sent them away, which is another Sakhi in itself. So Bhai Kanhaiya-ji, the story here is that when the Khalsa would fight their battles, right, against the Mughals, when they'd fight their battles, Bhai Kanhaiya-ji would enter the battlefield right at the end. And he'd actually start giving water, not only to the Khalsa soldiers who were injured and thirsty, but they'd actually start giving water to the other side as well, the Mughals as well. So what happened was, well, before I move on, just to put this into context, because I feel like this Sakhi is probably one of the most famous Sakhis we get told within Sikhi, right? But I'm just going to put this into context. These soldiers that Bhai Kanhaiya-ji is helping set off that day to hurt Bhai Kanhaiya-ji's family, right? The Khalsa. And they probably did. They probably killed people that Bhai Kanhaiya-ji knew. So again, to put that into context, could we, knowing that someone set out to hurt our family member, knowing someone set out to even hurt us, and that attacker now gets hurt, could we come to their aid? Imagine someone attacking your parent, brother or sister, I don't know, niece and nephew, or even you, and that attacker now gets hurt. Could we come to their aid? Could we go and help that person? It's hard, right? Really hard. So that is the gravity of what Bhai Kanhaiya-ji is doing here, right? It's unheard of. Now, Bhai Kanhaiya-ji was actually arrested by the Singhs in the army, and they brought him before Guru Sahib Ji. And Guru Sahib Ji is told this whole story about how Bhai Kanhaiya-ji is helping soldiers from both sides. The Singhs are complaining. They're saying, we're chopping them down, and Bhai Kanhaiya-ji is giving them water, banding them up, and sending them on their way. What's the point? What's the point in us doing our job if Bhai Kanhaiya-ji's job is just to help them back up? Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Bhai Kanhaiya-ji, is it true? Is it true that you're doing this, that you're helping the enemy? Bhai Kanhaiya-ji says, yes. He says, why? He says, Maharaj, really and truly, all I see is you. I just see Guru Gobind Singh Ji in everyone. I just see kat kat mein harju base, santana kehyo pukar. He said, I just see that light of the one in everyone, no matter who it is. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they get up, they walk towards Bhai Kanhaiya-ji, and everyone's thinking, whoa, what's Maharaj about to do? They walk over to him fast and they embrace him. They give him a hug. Why? Because Bhai Kanhaiya was a saint that Maharaj is talking about here. Gat gat mein har joob se santan ke ho pukar. It wasn't a criminal that the Singhs brought before Guru Gobind Singh Ji. It was a saint, right? He was on a completely different level, even in his younger years, which we'll come to in a little bit. So Maharaj goes on to say, Kahu Nanak tehe pajmana paunida utrehe par. That when we meditate, we actually get across this worldly ocean, this illusion. Right? So Maharaj just started off by telling us what that destination is like, that once we get there, we'll be able to see the one in absolutely everyone. Now they're telling us how we're going to get there. And they say, Kahu Nanak tehe pajmana, this bhajan, bandagi, meditation. These are the steps to get to the one. So what is this terrifying world ocean then? Maharaj goes on to say, Sukh dukh jehe par se nahi lobh moh abhiman. That's someone who isn't touched by pleasure or pain, greed, attachment, pride, all of these things. Maharaj is explaining to us that this is what this world ocean is like. And if we think about the analogy of an ocean for a second, right? The ocean, sometimes it can look so appealing, right? Nice and calm, cool, especially on a hot day, but it can switch up in 1 second, right? It actually has undercurrents that are so dangerous they can suck us in and drown us. Maharaj is saying that this world is like an ocean, so be careful, don't get sucked in to these things here, into pleasure, pain, greed, attachment, pride. So they go on to say, Kahu Nanak sunaremana so murata bhagavan. That's someone who's beyond pleasure and pain, someone who's beyond attachment, greed, all of these things. They are the very image of the one. So they've completed their journey. Now remember when we said our Guru is the form of the one, right? So we're not only trying to become one with Vaheguruji, we're actually trying to become one with our Guru as well. We're actually trying to merge with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So let's look at pain and pleasure. Right? Maharaj says, Sukha mangata dukh aage aave. That people beg for sukh. People want pleasure. But all that comes is pain. So if we look at intoxicants like alcohol, for example, right? Someone might drink alcohol. They might get that buzz, that false pleasure, just for a little bit. But what happens? They get hungover. It never lasts, does it? And the more they drink, the worse the hangover, the more illnesses they're going to get. It's just the same as something like smoking. See people, they started off smoking a couple a day, then they go to 10, 20, then it's like 30, 40, right? And all throughout the day, they're just smoking. Why? Because they want to stay in pleasure. But the more pleasure we get, the more it's actually hurting us, the more pain we're getting. So Maharaj here, they say, Satguru Sevye Man Nirmala, Bhai Pavitra Sarir. So they're saying that when we follow our Guru, our mind, it becomes immaculate, Mana Nirmala, it becomes pure. Why? Because our Guru is telling us to stay away from things like greed and stay away from things like attachment. Don't follow pleasure and pain. Even our sarir gets pure, they're saying. So this is all about cleaning that mirror. And then what does Maharaj want for us? So they don't want this false happiness, they want bliss. This bliss is called Anand. So they say, Man Ananda Sada Sukhapaya Pertiya Gehara Gambhira. Right? That when I found the one, Gehar means deep. When I went deep in myself, when I went in, I found Gambhir, I found the Lord. And what did that feel like? Complete bliss. So this bliss, Maharaj explains here that it's Sada Sukh. It's not just a Sukh like pleasure, it's a Sada Sukh. It lasts forever. It doesn't dip like a false Sukh, like cigarettes or alcohol or anything worldly. This bliss, this Anand is completely different. It's so much deeper. So I'll touch upon attachment, and a Sakhi that came to mind was when Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they went to visit a farmer. Right? So the farmer, he was an older guy, white beard, in the twilight years of his life, right? And he had 4 sons working on his farm. And while they're working, he's shouting at them, telling them what to do, saying, no, you don't do it like this, you do it like this. Right? Ordering them about, ordering all 4 sons about. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says to the farmer, he says, look, you're in the latest stages of your life now, look at you. You know, you're old, beards change color. They said, even now, if you start meditating, I'll free you. I'll take you to the one, and you can complete that journey. You know what the farmer says? He looks at Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he goes, nah. He goes, why would I do that? He goes, if I go, who's going to look after the farm? These 4 sons of mine are useless. They don't even know what they're doing. If I go, how are they going to survive? Right? This farmer was so attached. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, fine, but when this pain of your attachment gets too much, when your pain gets too much, then let me know. And the farmer's thinking, I'm not in pain, what's he on about? So anyway, Guru Nanak Dev Ji leaves. They actually come back about 4 to 5 years later. And it's only the 4 sons there now. And they say, where's your father? They said, our father passed away. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji knew this. So what happened was, the farmer died, but when he died, he was thinking about his farm. That was the last thought on his mind, was my farm. Make sure everything's okay. So he actually was reborn as an ox, as a calf of an ox. Is an ox baby called a calf? Is that right? I don't know. We'll go with calf. Right, yeah. So he was born as a calf. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji, right, so they say our father passed away, right? They don't know that this calf is their own father. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they walk off with the calf and they're talking to it. And they say, right, you know, you died. Now you're an ox. Now do you want me to liberate you? Now do you want to complete this journey back to the one? And you know what the farmer says? He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He goes, slow down. He goes, I'm working so hard to keep this farm going, right? I have to plow the fields. I've got so much to do. You can't take me away. And he said, if I die, my family are going to have to buy another ox. I can't do that to them. He said, Maharaj, don't worry about it. Leave me for now. Leave me to be an ox. I've got work to do. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, okay, fine. So what happens is that ox then dies. Again, the ox is thinking about his family. So that farmer is now reborn as a dog. Excuse me. So he's reborn as a dog. Again, Guru Nanak Dev Ji visits this farm. He starts talking to the dog, the soul inside this dog, the soul of this farmer. He says, look at you now. You were a man, now you are an ox. Now look at you, you're a dog, you're eating off the floor now. Surely now you want me to liberate you. The farmer says, I get what you're saying, but I'm a security dog. I'm not just any dog, I'm a security dog. These sons of mine, they sleep peacefully knowing that I'm here. I'm the reason no one robs this house. I've got work to do, Guru Nanak. Don't take me away from my family now. Not now that I'm a dog. Guru Nanak Dev Ji leaves. The dog dies. What does he die thinking about? Wealth. Thinks about the money that his sons are earning. And what does he come back as? A snake. So this snake is slithering around the same town that the farmer lived in right before. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they find this snake and they're talking to it. They're like, look at you now, you don't even have legs. You're just slithering around. Surely now, after going through so many lives, let me complete your journey for you. Let me take you back to the one. You've had enough, surely. The snake says, I get what you're saying, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but now I've got grandkids. My sons have got sons of their own now. And who's going to look after them? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, you still don't get it, do you? You still can't see how much pain that you're in. And he says, no. So what happens is the snake actually goes to one of the grandchildren, right? And as you can imagine, when the family saw the farmer, they didn't say, oh, granddad's here or dad's here. They say, oh my God, it's a snake. They ended up killing it. They didn't know, right? That the soul in that snake was their own father. They ended up killing the snake. One day, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is walking with Bhai Mardana Ji. And they say, Mardaniya, jaake keera leke aa mere liye. Go all the way over there. There's an ant walking by itself. You'll see it. There's no other ants near it, just one ant all the way over there. Go and get it for me. You can imagine being Bhai Mardanaji, right? Thinking, why is Maharaj asking me to bring them an an, right? But there's always a reason behind what Maharaj does. So Bhai Mardanaji, they bring this an to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And he's holding this ant in their hand, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, right, have you now had enough? Right, you're literally just an ant. Now tell me, what are you thinking? And this ant, this farmer, the soul that's in the ant is of the farmer, and he's talking to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He says, look, I spent so long attached to my family. I was worried about who was going to look after them. I was worried about the farm they were looking after. I was worried about my grandkids. Right, all of these things, who's going to look after them, who's trying to prevent robbers from getting in. All these things were attachments, Maharaj. I didn't realize that the same family I loved so much would end up killing me in my last life. Those same people I cared so much about, they ended up killing me anyway. He goes, look, I can't do anything for them now. I couldn't do anything for them before, and I can't do anything for them now. So I go, Maharaj, I'm tired now. I've had enough. I'm done. Just bless me now. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji blesses that farmer, even after giving all the chances, and he said no, blesses the farmer or this ant now to actually leave their body and merge with the one. Now, as the soul of this ant is leaving, as it's going back to the one, it actually pays its family one last visit. And you might imagine that the farmer's going to say something silly, right? But all he says to his sons is, look, don't make the same mistake that I made. Don't get attached to your family, to your wealth, to your house, to your farm that you're looking after. But follow Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Whatever they say, follow your Guru. That's the best advice I can give you. And then they went off and merged with the one. So it's a nice Sakhi, right? But just to put it into context for us, could we do it? Let's just say right now, right here in this darbar, Guru Nanak Dev Ji come to us and they say, right, let's go. You're going to merge with the one now. You're going to leave your body, you're going to die, let's go. Family might be sad, friends might be sad, well, hopefully people are going to be sad, but we're going to go right now, let's go. Could we do it? Could we really leave? Friends, family, jobs, all of these things, big events coming up, marriages. Could we really put all of that aside just to follow Guru Nanak Dev Ji? It's hard. It's hard. Okay, so Maharaj, they go on to say, Ustatan India nahi jehe, kanchana loha samana. That someone, they carry on with these characteristics, they say someone who is beyond praise and slander, right? Who looks upon gold and iron, kanchana and law, saman, the same. Gold and iron to be the same to that person. Going back to Bhai Ganeyaji, like I said earlier, they were very different even from a young age. So Bhai Ganeyaji was from a very wealthy family. Their father was a high-ranking officer, right? So they used to earn a lot of money. They had a very famous family, you can say. They were well-known, right? Well-to-do. And what Bhai Ganeyaji would do out of such a young age, they'd take money, coins in their pocket, and they'd walk around town, not to spend it, but just to see who needed some coin. What poor person was hungry? What poor person needed some clothes, right? And they'd just go around just giving away their money. Not only that, but when they were older in their early teens, they'd actually help the poor people carry their heavy loads. So what would happen in India at the time, those that were at the bottom of the caste system, the lowest of the low, were given the hardest jobs. And they had to take heavy loads, not only on their heads, but on their backs as well. All their life, that is it. They couldn't do anything else. So Bhai Ganeyaji would actually go around and take these loads off people. They'd help them carry this load. And what would happen? People of the town would say, look what he's doing. Doesn't he know who his dad is? His dad has worked so hard to bring this family into wealth, to make this family well-known, well-to-do. And look what his son is doing now, giving away money, helping the poor people when no one else will. Who does he think he is? And Bhai Ganeyaji didn't care. Why? Because this person who has these qualities of seeing gold and iron alike, of not caring about praise or slander, they are mukt, they're free. So in other words, gold and iron, when we see it different, it's a trap. Does that make sense? we're actually trapped. We're not mukt, we're not free from that. If we rely on fame and praise, or if someone slandering us affects us, again, we're not mukt. We are still trapped by these things. So, I'll tell you a quick story. I was only going to tell this if we had time, and I think we've got time. So, just a quick personal story. A couple of years ago, I gave a talk at the Basics of Sikhi camp in December for the first time. And I put myself under loads of pressure because camp talks, they're not like normal talks, they're really like epic, in my opinion anyway. They're really like high level, good quality talks, right? And I remember I gave this talk and it went horribly, man. I didn't deliver what I wanted to the way I thought it was going to, right? I didn't make my points properly. There was this really annoying heater in the tent that was making all this noise, and the noise was just putting me off. It was a really bad talk, right? But bless them, afterwards, some of the Sangha came over and they said, look, great talk or whatever. Whether they meant it or not, I don't know. But they said great talk, right? In the background is Baljit Singh. Baljit Singh's watching all of this happen, right? And up until this point, I had never spoken to Baljit Singh before. And he comes over to me, and at this point, I was a bit starstruck, I ain't gonna lie. You know when you see someone like on YouTube and stuff for so many years and then you finally meet them in real life, it's a bit daunting, you get like starstruck. I still do, to be honest, but don't tell him that, right? But Baljit Singh comes over and he says, I noticed something about you. And I was like, man, he's gonna cuss me out, right? He's obviously a pro at delivering talks, at doing katha, and I'm just an amateur trying my luck. He's gonna definitely tell me, why did you do this? You should have done it like this, right? I was fully expecting the worst. He goes, I noticed something about you. I was like, oh God, here we go. He goes, you don't know how to take praise. He goes, you clam up when people say something good. And it's true, I do. I don't know why, but I do. And he said, I'll give you a little tip. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I genuinely think we can all learn from this, right? I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. He said, you know our Guru, they have all of the qualities, right? So you know in Gurbani we say, Tere kavana kavana guna kehe kehe gava. Tu sahib guni nidana. How can I speak of all of your qualities? How can I speak of all your attributes, Maharaji, when you have all of them? Right? And you are a guni nidana. You're a treasure chest of these guns, of these good qualities. And he said, you know what Maharaj does? They take out of this treasure chest and they bless each and every one of us with something. We've all got something. All of us has got something to give. We've all got a purpose on why we're here. He said some of us are blessed with amazing voices. They can do kirtan. Some of us are blessed with IT skills, right? I'm not, unfortunately. But he said everyone's blessed with something. And he goes, that's the beauty of Sikhi. He goes, when we all get together, we can really get things done. We can do so much because there's someone for something, right? So he goes, whenever someone says something good, he goes, put it at your Guru's feet. That you're not good, your Guru is good. It's all come from one place. He goes, if you let it sit in your mind, that, oh yeah, maybe I am this, maybe I am that. He goes, you're going to lose. He goes, the second you forget your Guru, you're finished. And I'll never forget it because I think we can genuinely, everyone, we can all learn from something like that, that even when someone says something good about us, it's just Maharaj's Kirpa. It's all come from them anyway. So why would we keep it on ourselves? So here Maharaj goes on to say, Haraka soga jake nahi beri meeta saman. So again, talking about someone who isn't afflicted by pain or pleasure. But here they say beri meeta saman. That word again, saman. A beri is an enemy. A meet is a friend, right? Someone who sees an enemy and a friend as the same thing. What did they say about that person? They say, Kaho nanak sunare mana mukta tahe te jaan. That person is liberated. They say the same line again as they did before. That person is free. So again, if we see enemy and friend, we are trapped. We are not free. So going back to this bit, and I've got a question for you guys now. So where Maharaj says, Har kasog jaake nihi beri meet saman, someone who has no enemies but just friends, someone who looks at enemy and friend the same, they're neutral. That is the attribute of the one, right? That is the attribute of our Guru. So if that is our Guru and our Guru has no enemies, they're nirvair, like we say in the Mool Mantar, then why did Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji go into war? Why did they go into battle? They didn't go into battle to do nothing, right? They were halving people, they were killing people left, right and center, right? But here, Maharaj is saying that that person, that one, has no enemy. So how, make it make sense? How does that work? Has anyone got any ideas? Spot on.
These people who they're going to war against, they obviously got barely in their heart, right? Enmity in their mind. So it's not to say that this person is like my enemy, that's why I'm going to stand up against you. Saying up against you, jump off better.
Spot on. 10 out of 10. Star student here. Right. If anyone didn't hear, what VG said was that Maharaj wasn't going into battle just to kill people. It was actually to stop the action that they were doing. So they had Veri in their hearts, right? They were oppressing people. They were converting people. They were murdering people, okay? So Maharaj was trying to stop that action. But they didn't have hatred towards the person. It's a very deep concept, this. Very deep. So VG here says that Maharaj was acting from a place of compassion. Right? That they were doing dharam. How can we act from a place of righteousness? Through compassion. Right? So how do we know if we're doing the right thing or not, basically? Are we acting from a place of compassion? Now, who did Maharaj have compassion on? The people that were suffering. Right? So when we go into war against someone who's oppressing people, killing people, murdering people, that's actually an act of compassion on the people that they're oppressing. Obviously, when all other means have failed, did Maharaj pick up the sword, right? So this is so deep. That means that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji went into war without any hatred. Imagine that. Imagine going into war, you don't have no anger, and you got no hatred. That's so deep, isn't it? And I'm going to put someone on the spot. They're not going to like me for this, but Harveer Singh, I'm so sorry, bro. I know you were thinking, please don't. What I want to ask you, and I'm only picking on you because of your Sikh warrior project, and we're trying to look through the lens of a Sikh warrior, right? So what I'd like to hear from yourself, if you don't mind, is in terms of what you learn, be it through jiu-jitsu or anything else, does this concept of hatred or anger or anything like that come up? Like how do you deal with that as someone learning to fight, basically? You know what, bro, there's a mic on that Vajra. I'm going to really put you on the spot. I'm so sorry. If you guys see me in a headlock later on, you know why, right? If you don't mind, bro, just give us a few words on how hatred and anger is dealt with in what you're learning.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So sometimes when you're sparring someone, if you're fighting them, you can take it to heart a little bit if they get like a good shot on you or something. And the way I take it back to it
Throwing each other around, beating each other up, right? That's quite deep. Thank you, bro. Okay, so to finish off then, Maharaj says, Pe kahu kau de nehe pe imana da ana. who isn't scared of anyone and doesn't scare anyone either. So if we look at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the Mughals at the time, Emperor Aurangzeb actually tried to scare Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. There was a reason why Bhai Mati Das Ji was sawn in half, slowly. There was a reason why Bhai Sati Das Ji was burnt alive. And there was a reason why Bhai Dayala Ji was actually boiled in hot water. All different deaths, all extremely brutal. I couldn't think of a more brutal death than these three examples. So why? Why would they do it? What were they trying to do to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji? They were trying to scare them. They were trying to intimidate them. That look at what we can do. Look at what we can do to your Guru Sikhs. Imagine what we're going to do to you. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji seeing all of this, and they're completely neutral. They're still in that state of bliss. They don't feel fear, and they don't give fear either. So what happened was, at one point, the executioner, the Jalad, they're sharpening their sword in front of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Right? They're running out of ideas. They killed 3 of their Guru Sikhs. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is still straight, saying, I'm not going to convert to Islam. You can't convert me, you can't convert anyone else either. So the Jalad, the executioner, they start sharpening their sword in front of Maharaj, just as a last-ditch attempt to get some sort of fear into Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. He says to Guruji, he goes, you know, my whole family, we're all executioners. He goes, my father was an executioner before me, and his father before him, guess what? He was an executioner as well. That's my lineage. We're basically really good at what we do. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, at that moment, they could have said something to put fear into this Jalad. They could have said something to put fear into this executioner, but they didn't. What does Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji say? He goes, you've come from a lineage of executioners, I come from a lineage of martyrs. You kill, and we're the ones that die. We're the ones that are happy to die. My grandfather sat on a hot plate and gave his life. And that's my lineage. So you can be proud of your executioner lineage. I'm proud of mine. I'd rather die. Sat Sri Akal. So he didn't feel fear. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji didn't feel fear at the time, and they didn't give fear away. Why? Pay kahu ko det nehe. Nehe pay manata honor. Oh, sorry. So this was their state of mind. Someone who isn't scared and someone who doesn't give fear away. So when it comes to fear, you know Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, sometimes their Bani, their words, they can be a bit scary. If we rewind back to the start of Salok Mahalla, what's the first thing Maharaj says? After Ikumkar Satgur Prasad, Salok Mahalla, Gunu Govinda, Gayo Nahi, Janama Akar Thakin. If you don't sing the praises of the One, your whole life, no matter what you do, your whole life is Akar Thakin. Understand it to be useless. You wasted it, you lost. That's the first thing Maharaj says. And that can be quite scary. It can be quite scary to hear Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji speak what seems so harshly to us. But is it true? Is it true what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is saying? Yes. You see, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, they are our grandfather, right? If Guru Gobind Singh Ji is our father, then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is our grandfather. And just like any grandparent, they want the best for their grandchildren. How do grandparents scold their grandchildren sometimes, right? They do it from a place of love. Sometimes they tell us to stop being naughty. Sometimes they tell us we put on too much weight or we're too skinny, right? It sounds harsh at the time, but they say it from a place of love. And that's exactly what Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is doing here. They're not trying to scare us. They're trying to save us. Right? They're trying to save us from these traps that we find ourselves in. So just to finish off then, I thought I'd list out some final thoughts. So we've got a week now until the next talk. So I was thinking over this next week, wouldn't it be good if we all just took maybe even just one of these things to think about, just for ourselves, just so we take something away and we don't become those people that just learn about Sikhi but not actually do something about it. So the first question I've got here is, do I treat people differently? Am I seeing the One in everyone? Do I treat everyone with respect? Or do I give this person a bit more respect than I do that person? Is there a farq? Is there a difference in what I do? Right? Just a simple question to ask ourselves is, do I treat people differently? Am I chasing short-term pleasures? What do we want? What are we aiming for? What do we want? If we had to list it out, how many of those things will be worldly things? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but if we've only got worldly things on our list, then we're kind of missing the point. We're kind of forgetting that this bliss, this anand, this ik actually exists, and that is the end goal we're trying to aim towards. What is my relationship with fear? What am I scared of? Just like the farmer, what am I scared to lose? All right, what's the answer going to be to Guru Nanak Dev Ji if they came right now and said, right, let's go? Why would we say no? What is it that's holding us back? And lastly then, am I chasing fame and praise? Are we serving our Guru? Are we following this path of Sikhi so that our name gets out there? Or are we doing it for our Guru's greatness? It's a very fine line to walk, very dangerous road to walk on, this one. So just some things to think about. We've come to the end of the talk. Has anyone got any questions or any vichar of their own, any thoughts that they want to share before we wrap up? Anyone? No? Okay, guys, thank you so much. Sorry for the mistakes I've made. I know these are really deep concepts to talk about, and it's really hard to explain it in a way that makes sense, certainly to myself anyway, so I struggle. So if any of my concepts there were a bit hard to understand, I'm sorry, I do apologize. So let's finish off with the Fateh Saad Sangat Ji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Just play for this.
Guru. राख लिया राख लिया राख लिया राख लिया मोहे कृष्ण